You've got Charlotte, where everyone is still yapping and getting on the bully pulpit, the fallout as we have our obligatory post-mortem Maller monologue on the benching heard round the NFL of Bryce Young. So if you weren't following along because you actually have a life and you don't pay attention to this stuff all the time, like Justin in Cincinnati who's busy worried about other things, perhaps you missed it. So we've had several prominent and some who think they're prominent figures in the football media that have come out throwing haymakers towards one person in particular involved in the Bryce Young story. Now, you would think it would be Bryce Young because he's the one that's been terrible, but no. He has been absolved of all wrongdoing. The focus of the anger is in the ownership department. Now, Ryan Leaf, remember him? Knock it off. Ryan Leaf defended Bryce Young. Shocking a bust would defend a bust. And he said that it's the Panthers organization that is the problem. Yeah, and if Ryan Leaf had been drafted by the Patriots, he would have turned out to be wonderful. Sure, yeah, that's the ticket. Well, Chad Johnson, remember him, Ocho Cinco? He ripped owner David Tepper and said the benching of Bryce Young was a bullshoy. We'll clean it up for the radio. A bullshoy decision, adding, you don't do nobody like that. That's the King's English. Former Colts coach Jeff Saturday. How funny is it to say that? Former Colts coach Jeff Saturday. He said it is an organizational failure. He then mentioned David Tepper by name, said Tepper is the one. The bag should fall on him. Now, what kind of bag? A bag of money? Because he's got a lot of that. A lot of money for David Tepper. A lot of money. Guy's worth gazillion dollars. Well, like 20-something billion dollars or something like that. But, hey, why not? All right, so let us discuss the popular angle by popular people in the football media. I can go on and on here. You get the point. Do you support the public bashing of owner David Tepper for the benching of Bryce Young in Carolina? So I've got Big Red, Tender Greens, and Nursery Rhyme. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will get the final word. Well, hours from now, we'll get the final word. Number one. That's right. Now, consuming media coverage, which is always a dangerous thing. I'm not part of the mainstream media. I'm not. I do this overnight show and a weekend show on television about gambling, which is not part of the mainstream. But this media coverage, over the top, right? Over the top, it was a full-on feeding frenzy. And it all circled back to David Tepper. It was a full-on dog pile. It's still continuing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't rubberneck. When there's an accident, we all do it, right? We all sit there. We look at the accident. We say, all right, is any blood on the street there? What's going on? We all look at that. Now, that aside, right, the robber baron is not the person to blame in this little ditty. Now, last I checked, maybe I'm wrong on this. I don't watch every Carolina Panther game. How many plays did David Tepper get out there? He's 67 years old. He just had a birthday last week. Happy birthday. Was he playing? Maybe I missed it. And I apologize. I do apologize if he played. I mean, he'd be the oldest quarterback in NFL history at age 67. That must be it, right? He must have gone out there and played, and it's his fault and all that. The way I look at this, and I guess I'm going old school here, I believe in accountability. Bryce Young has to wear this. He has to own it. He has had multiple coaches who have worked effortlessly to polish up a turd. That's what they've done. Kid can't play, right? The results are Bryce Young continues to be a blobfish, a very small blobfish, but a blobfish. Now, how do we know this? Follow the teachings of Big Red. Andy Reid, one of the things Andy Reid preaches is film don't lie, right? Film don't lie. Well, the videotape is ghastly. I fell down a rabbit hole. I was watching some of this stuff, and I was like, oh, man, I must be wrong. I mean, maybe my eyes are lying to me, my lying eyes here, and it's not the player, it's everything else around him. So I fell down this rabbit hole on the YouTube, and I started watching clips and breakdowns, and I realized that Bryce Young has only two problems. He's knee-high to a grasshopper, and he's got tunnel vision. Well, a third problem would be pocket panic. That's also there. But clip after clip showed many times open receivers for the Panthers, in which Bryce Young, and these are in the games this year, either did not see them because he had pocket panic, couldn't get them the ball, or he just checked down because why not? He's a check down Charlie. And so he absolutely earned the reduction in rank and has been guilty of the crime of being an imposter. And we have some passionate fans of Bryce Young, many of them also Alabama football fans. We had a guy call up the other night, Van, the one-legged Bama man, who cursed on the air. He was so passionate defending Bryce Young. Hours later, Bryce Young would be removed as the starting quarterback, but he's neutralized himself as much as anybody. And that does not mean that it's a great situation in Carolina and David Tepper is a wonderful owner and all that. None of those things change the fact that Bryce Young has not shown any improvement. No improvement. And this is not a charity. They actually sell tickets. People actually invest the most important asset they have, their time, watching this crap. And why would you continue to send that out? Why would you send that imposter? That's what he is. He's an imposter. Send him out there. He's neutralized himself. All right, page 2 here. We go to Pittsburgh, which, by the way, David Tepper used to own part of the Steelers. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He's a Yinzer. Well, the Yinzers this weekend have a date with the Chargers. Mike Tomlin was asked about something that happened last week. We have some audio here we're going to play. Mike Tomlin was asked about awarding Russell Wilson a petty game ball. We learned about that from the other quarterback, Mr. Fields, who came out and announced that. Now, they gave a petty game ball to Russell Wilson because he played 0 snaps and the Steelers beat the Broncos because Bo Nix is bad at his job. So Mike Tomlin, listen to Mike Tomlin ask the question. You'll hear his response here, asked about the petty game ball to Russell Wilson. Let's go to the audio tape.
None of your businesses, respectfully. There's certain things that go on among teams that I don't talk about. Whether it gets out or how it gets out is unimportant to me, and I'm not overly guarded against it. But it's just certain things as a leader that I talk to the collective about that I have zero intentions of sharing with the larger public, because it's about our collective and how we come together and how we appreciate and support one another. And, I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
All right, so Tomlin revealing these are not kosher hot dogs. Can you unravel the Mike Tomlin quote you just heard there about the petty game ball? The money quote that has been bouncing around the echo chamber is, I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it. So this obviously touched a nerve with Mike Tomlin, and he referenced in the middle of that soundbite, he said he doesn't, I'm paraphrasing here, but he doesn't really mind that this got out. He then tossed a but in there. And but is a dead giveaway. It's a dead giveaway that it does bother him. He is annoyed by this, and he likely had a conversation with Justin Fields. But Tomlin, his part of the conversation, he's double dipping. He's got a side hustle, Mike Tomlin. He's working at Tender Greens. Now, forget the macaroni or the Waldorf or the Cobb. Tomlin is putting together a classic word salad, is what he's doing. Now, this is the new Pittsburgh salad. Now, I like the Pittsburgh salad because they just put fries on top. It's not as good as the Canadian salad, which is the poutine. But the Pittsburgh salad, add on some chopped up hot dogs on top. That's what Mike Tomlin was serving. This was a polite way of him saying, it's none of your business. Stay in your lane, is essentially what Mike Tomlin said. But it is more evidence of the dichotomy between what goes on in the public specter and what goes on behind the gates of the big top in the circus. All right, now, final point. Speaking of the circus, Ben Rothberger. Remember him? Yeah. He's still hanging around. He's doing some podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. I even have one. So Roethlisberger says that Justin Fields should be the Steelers' QB1 even when Russell Wilson is healthy enough to play. And Fields will be starting this week against the Chargers in Pittsburgh. Have you seen enough? Here's the question for you. Have you seen enough of Justin Fields 2 weeks in to make that decision that he should be the quarterback going forward? And I have no skin in the game here, but I'm shaking my head no. I'm shaking my head no. This is a perplexing take. Methinks it is something personal. There's some kind of rift that goes back to their playing days between Ben Roethlisberger and Russell Wilson. I'm not sure exactly the history on that. Maybe you know something I don't, but I have a feeling it goes back to that. The Steelers are 2-0, and while that is true, 2-0 is where you would like to be, that is a byproduct of playing the human statue Kirk Cousins and Bo Nix. Bo, Mr. August, he was great in August, not so much in the month of September. So Justin Fields, here is my scouting report on Justin Fields so far. He has been You don't get excited about right? You know, right? He's And it really is like the nursery rhyme test. The nursery rhyme test is simple. The wheels on the bus go round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round. He is a bus driver. No, he's not. He's a bus rider. You need a bus driver. He is a bus rider. That's the problem, right? The wheels on the bus go round and round. And he's not the one driving the bus. He's riding the bus. And what is my evidence? The Pittsburgh Steelers, through 2 games, have played Atlanta, likely a middling defense, and they have played Denver, also not expected to be a top 10 defense in the NFL. The Steelers' passing offense, out of 32 teams, is ranked 30th in the NFL. That's not good enough. Oh, you're just being a hater. You're a hater. Okay. All right. You have low standards. You're a bad fan. That's fine. You can be a bad fan. That's all right. The only teams that have been worse passing the football this year are Carolina and Chicago. Period. Stop. That's it. Everyone else has been better. The Patriots with Jacoby Brissett have a better passing offense than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we got these dingleberries like Ben Roethlisberger coming out and saying, well, I would go with Fields. He's done enough. In what world has he done enough? Not the world I'm in. Maybe your world, but not my world.